Hey, podcast listener, are you a hacker, techie, nerd, investor, founder, or ever wanted to get into this world? Join TechCrunch for its annual Disrupt conference in San Francisco, featuring the luminaries who aren't only making the rules in technology, but changing the game. Get a first look at startups disrupting machine learning, mobility, healthcare, robotics, and more, and hear from the world's leading investors and innovators. Visit TechCrunch.com and use promo code SPREAKER. That's SPREAKER for an exclusive discount.
This is No BS Job Search Advice Radio, episode 1197. I'm your host, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome. If you're new to this show, you probably heard that number, 1,197, and you're right. That's a lot of podcasts I've done about job hunting for this show. And Saturday is episode 1200 of the number one show in Apple Podcasts. We have more episodes than anyone else by far. And this show is continuing the series I've been doing this week about preparing to job search, talking about a career inventory self-assessment. Hope you find this useful. Hope you have a great experience working on this. If you don't do it, hey, you miss out. It's okay. It's your choice. And if you'd like me to help you with it, I obviously charge for it. It's quite a few $100s, but I'd love to help you. Message me through LinkedIn, and you'll hear about how to contact me for coaching at the end of the show. And with that, let's get going!
Now, this one you may not have heard before, but I think it's a very important one. It's called doing a career inventory self-assessment. And part of the reason is most people kind of get locked into corporate descriptions and rarely take the time to think creatively about the skills needed, the human skills needed in order to be effective. Now, a friend of mine developed a model that I find particularly useful. So kind of bear with me and jot down some notes and pause when you need to in order to write things down. So the first step is making a list of your major skills and put each one on a separate piece of paper. And then take each major skill at a time and then write down the skills required to accomplish that skill. And then you do that for each of the major skills you've jotted down. So I'm referring to some notes I have. Taking one major skill at a time, so no more than one per day, or maybe one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Write down the skills needed to perform each of those sub-skills. Then write down the skills and it's necessary to perform the next level of skills. So you're taking it down a couple of different layers. So for example, I'm a headhunter, and the major skills needed to do this are perseverance, evaluation skills, marketing skills, sales skills. So using sales skills as an example, the secondary skills that help me sell well are acute listening skills, knowledge, research ability, and a good network to ask questions of quickly when I'm not sure. The third level of sales skills underneath involve having a good network is being likable. I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. The third level of sales skills underneath having a good network is being likable, always connecting people, the ability to be trusted. So you're taking it down a couple of different layers. So take each major skills, list the secondary skill underneath that major, then take each secondary skill and create a skill level underneath that. Do this for each of the major skill areas that you have. Take into consideration all the things you know you have to know or know how to do in order to be able to perform the major skill at a high level of competence. So competency. There are 5 levels of competency. You can see why I'm referring to my notes here. The first level is unconscious incompetence. You know what you're doing, and you don't even know you know what you're doing. The second level is conscious incompetence. You don't know what you're doing. You know you don't know what you're doing, so you ask. The third level is conscious competence, as long as you think you know what you're doing, you do the right thing. And this is the level that most people are successful at in large corporations. The fourth one is unconscious competence, in which there are times you don't need to think about things, but you do things instinctively right. And many stars play at this level. Most people are generally function at the conscious competence level. And then the fifth and final level we have is conscious incompetence, the line between unconscious competence and unconscious incompetence, very thin. So take all the information you've gathered in the first few steps and put them out on a large flat surface. The type size of all the pieces should be the same, so make it large. The major skill set should be the same type size as the last skill in the data set, and keep the data sets of major skills together. The order that the major skills are in doesn't really matter. Get a comfortable chair and a pad and pen and put them aside for now. Just sit and look, walk away for a while, and come back. And then I'm going to ask you to rank the skills. Be patient. Spend time looking at all the things that you know how to do. You'll notice, for example, that number 4, I'm using this as an example, one major skill area goes very well with a skill from a different area. And the idea is to line things up into different data sets so that they fall into a number of categories, such as things I know I'm really good at and hate doing, things I'm really good at and love doing, things I can do if I have to, things I am consistently asked to do and I have trouble with. A thing that you can do almost all the time, and then the things I would love to do almost all the time in my job. So the idea is, and I know this may sound confusing, but be patient with it. It's going to take some practice to really do. But at the same time, get a small notebook that fits in your back pocket or purse. Don't use a recorder. At the top of the first page, write what I want. Then write on each line things that you want at work, with the emphasis on tasks. You also need to write down the things you want in your life, such as a house, a trip to Asia, pay off my mortgage, kids, whatever it is. Everything has to be positive. Nothing can be longer than one line. You write down the 2 things. You never write down more than 2 things in 1 hour. And everything you write down as things you want in the job must be things that you can actually do. This can take several weeks of time. And when all is said and done, it's an important thing for you to do as you're rolling out your search. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to figure out the things that you want in your life, what you're competent to do in your life, the things that you want in your next job. And as far as the job list goes, it's rare for any but the first 3 items to be of any real importance. So you should be able to define a job that encompasses those 3 items, and ask yourself, if you found a job that contained, let's say, 2 or 3 of those items, would you be satisfied? So think in terms of more than 3. Think in terms of 5, 6, and 7.
So that's today's show. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, here are a few ways that I can help you. First of all, you can hire me to coach you throughout your job search in every way imaginable. That includes a resume and or LinkedIn profile critique, interview preparation, helping you with a salary negotiation and or networking, answering your questions about your job search, giving you advice about a decision you have to make once you have the offer. We can work in 30-minute or 1-hour increments throughout your search. And the easiest way to talk with me about it is by connecting with me at linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. Mention that you listen to the show. I just like knowing that I'm helping folks. And once we're connected, message me that you're interested in coaching. We'll do a free discovery conversation with one another. If you're not interested in coaching and you just have a few questions, the easiest way to do it is by reaching out to me through the Magnify app for iOS. That's Magnify with an I. Or if you don't have an iOS device, if you're an Android user or you just want to call me on the phone, do it through PrestoExperts.com, where I'm a career coach and job search expert. For those of you who've been listening to the show, you know that I always talk about JobSearchCoachingHQ.com. And recently, we've been changing the focus of the site to really emphasize interviewing and answering tough interview questions. If you join, you'll have access to curated information that you can watch, listen to, or read that's designed to help you find work more quickly, as well as videos and podcasts and other information. Again, an emphasis on interviewing and answering tough interview questions. You can also take my classes on Skillshare and become a premium member using the link in the show notes and get 2 months for free instead of the 1 month that the site offers. And the last thing I want to mention to you is schedule me for lunch. I do it at 12:30 most days, and for now I'm making myself available Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for lunch at 12:30 Eastern Time. We'll meet over Zoom and be able to see one another. You bring something to eat, or if it's early for you, very simply bring some coffee with you. We'll sit and talk for 45 minutes. I'll answer your questions. That's less for $175. That's less than what I charge for comparable time for my coaching. So again, reach out to me through LinkedIn and we'll schedule a time for lunch. Have a great day. Take care.
Hey, podcast listener, are you a hacker, techie, nerd, investor, founder, or ever wanted to get into this world? Join TechCrunch for its annual Disrupt conference in San Francisco, featuring the luminaries who aren't only making the rules in technology, but changing the game. Get a first look at startups disrupting machine learning, mobility, healthcare, robotics, and more, and hear from the world's leading investors and innovators. Visit TechCrunch.com and use promo code SPREAKER. That's SPREAKER for an exclusive discount.